The A&R staff are the ones that came up with the idea and suggested it, and so I didn't really know what to do. I was unsure about that whole game and what producing a record was really all about. And they suggested Michael Knox, and I took a meeting with him, and he really, from the get-go, got who I was as an artist. And I always have loved the way that those Jason Aldean records sounded. And I know he's done some other things, but for me, it was like, this guy gets me, and he's such a song guy. He doesn't play anything, he doesn't write, and so there's never any outside influence, with regards to songs, and no political stuff. He's just purely a song guy, and he found a lot of these songs that I didn't write, and yeah, he gets the most out of me in the studio too. I'm sitting there doing guitar tracks, and think I played something really great, and he'll make me do it 5 more times. So he gets the best out of me. But I think we made a great sounding record. No, we'd only recorded. There's 8 songs total on the album, and we recorded 12. So we had recorded the first 6, and we picked "Tell Me You Get Lonely" out of the first 6, because at the time we just didn't feel like we were ready to cut the whole thing yet. So it wasn't done yet. Not too long ago, actually. It was we kind of took it to the 11th hour in order to make it May 24th as a release date, because there was a lot of things up in the air. I really wanted to take my time. I didn't want to rush through and cut a bunch of songs that felt good at the moment, and I really wanted to get some perspective on the project. And so we took our time and cut the first 6 tracks, and then we cut a couple more a few months later, and then we cut a couple more a few months later, and then we cut the last 2 fairly recently. So I just wanted to make sure it was right. And then when we got dialed down to the 8 songs, the label and I and Michael Knox got together and just really hashed out which ones were going to be the ones. And I think the ones that made it completely represent and say what I wanted to say in this first record. And it only took 8 songs. I think if we'd added the other ones, it wouldn't have necessarily added anything or subtracted anything from the record. These are the right 8 songs for the project. Yeah, and those 8 songs, I think, do it. They've totally got the whole vibe, from the tempo stuff to the guitar playing to the real heartfelt country song to it does it. And this is sort of a progressive thing, but I think that sometimes there's too much time between albums, and I think if you've got material, which I've got extra material left over from this one, we can be putting out new stuff. We can be putting out bonus tracks on iTunes and making sure that the consumers have new material as we work on the next album, so that also was a upside to it. So blessed to even be considered for either of them, first of all, and to get them both is just so cool, because arenas full of people, playing for arenas full of people is just so important. I mean, you're winning fans. You're in front of the audience. You're gonna get experience, chops. It's so incredible to get those tours. But the cool thing about those 2 artists is that they're different crowds. You could go, and I could get the Brad Paisley tour and the Kenny Chesney tour, but there may be a lot of kind of the same fans there. I'm getting 2 different groups of consumers, I think, which is a totally awesome opportunity for me. And I respect both of them so much, and I know I'm going to learn. I already have with Bob. I know I'm going to learn a bunch from Taylor and how they do their thing too. Yeah, it's kind of it's changed a few times because things are tough in the beginning stages. It's down and dirty, It's lean and mean for a lot of reasons. There's some sacrifices that need to be made. So things have changed a bit. I've got one guy with me still that I had originally back in Michigan, who's been playing with me forever. He's still with me and rocking. But the other guys have come via recommendation from people or players in Nashville. All of them are kind of Nashville guys, and they've done great. I mean, I owe them a huge debt of gratitude for sticking it out and slugging it out with me. And you know, a lot of this stuff early is in a van, and it's at late nights and early mornings, and it's not always catered, you know. So they're tough, and they're great musicians, and all of them in their own right are wonderful players, and I'm lucky to have them together. And we're always pushing each other to make our live show better and the best it can be, you know, because I think that's my bread and butter, and it's so important to me to have a band who's pushing it, you know, and learning and getting better and making it fresh. So I got a good group. Yeah, absolutely. I learned way early in my career playing nasty bars and country honky tonks, and that you're there and you got a job to do. You got to sell some beer in those places, and you learn quickly how to do that and what works and what doesn't work. And it's like fishing. A lot of times, you know, you bait up a hook and you throw it out there, and sometimes they bite and sometimes they don't. You got to change bait, you know, you got to move to a different spot. You got to be flexible and adjust and go on the fly. And entertainment is a flexible thing, you know. And so we definitely do cover songs. Never too many, but a couple well-placed cover songs that fit the crowd you're playing in front of, I think do wonders. You going up there starting from scratch sometimes. We go out, we played in Boston with Bob Seger a few nights ago, and nobody really in Boston knows who I am, and we're playing in front of 30,000 people. And here's a great opportunity. I could go out there and jam a bunch of songs down their throat that they don't know, or I can play a bunch of my songs, but weave a cover in there once in a while to keep their attention, to keep them entertained. And sometimes a great cover in that situation goes further, because that caught their attention, and then they say, oh, I like that. I like this guy. And then they try to figure out who you are as an artist and try to hear your songs, you know. But you got to get their attention. So we definitely go off the beaten path sometimes in the voice of entertainment, you know.